Look, I get it. You may struggle from time to time, but you are not your struggles. You may struggle with anger, but you are not anger. You may struggle with depression. We've all been there, but you are not depression. Anxiety may take you for a loop sometimes, but you guessed it. You're not anxiety either. It's your girl Marsha, aka Dulce, and you already know what time it is.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
Hey guys, welcome to Affirmation Sesh, a blah 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 sub-series where peace, power, and positivity are yours for the taking. I'm your virtual hope dealer, Marsha, aka Dulce, author of Baggage Claim a Life series. In this episode of Affirmation Sesh, I wanted to follow up on what was said in my previous video. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, no worries, you can definitely check it out here. In the last video, I mentioned that it is incredibly important to feel and be real. Today's video will touch on the importance of having a boundary when acknowledging those feelings. Without further ado, let's get right into today's affirmation. I will honor my feelings, but I will not let them take root in who I am. I love this affirmation so much because while it is allowing you to acknowledge your feelings, it is not allowing you to take the sum of all your feelings and let them be who you are. Sometimes we just have rough patches. I mean, back in 2016, I was down on my luck and I had to be the most negative person ever. I'm so thankful for good friends that were around me that knew who I was beyond my situation because they were able to just see that I was just having a rough time. So I'm asking you to extend the same grace to yourself. Realize the difference between a temporary situation and who you are as a person, the essence of what insert your name here is like. So like I said with my example, in 2016, I was incredibly negative. I was definitely pessimistic, and I was not the optimistic person that would have ever started a YouTube channel, let alone one with a sub-series called Affirmation Sesh about positivity and peace and all that stuff. Some of the issues that we face are definitely more long-term, but it's important to realize that those are just situations that we fall into, circumstances that we end up being victim to. However, they are not who we are. I am not a negative and pessimistic person. Of course, a situation and at the time can have me act out in a certain way. That was definitely before I reached the level of, I guess you say, maturity and consciousness that I can say I have now. But I am not those things, and you are not the things that you're facing. You might be in a terrible relationship where you bicker all the time, but you're not this combative, argumentative person. Right now, you just haven't established, peace in your situation. You haven't figured out how to necessarily navigate a situation, and that's all it is. Do not let temporary situations, momentary problems, and issues that won't last longer than probably a couple years, a mere fraction of your life, determine who you are as a person. Choose to always rise above those things. You are a person that deals with anxiety or anger or depression. You're not a depressed individual. You're not depression itself. Those are momentary things. It's very important to know that your emotions cannot take over you as a person. And what I mean by that is they don't inhibit you. You have it. You know what I mean? You have to be very cautious to not let your anxiety and depression become who you are as a person.
I got so passionate that I began rambling, but this is what I'm trying to say.
Again, be very mindful, even when you are in moments of hostility, when you don't feel peace, when you don't feel like your best self. Remind yourself that you were good once before, and no matter what it takes to get there, you'll be back at good again. What you're going through is so temporary. If you can think back to the last hardship you experienced in your life, I want you to count exactly how long it took for you to get from point A to point B of that hardship, meaning the beginning and the end of that hardship. How long did it take you to get through that hardship? For example, me being homeless and jobless was a 9-month process. That 9 months sounds like nothing compared to the 27 and a half years of life that I've been living thus far. But it was still a very significant part of my life, no doubt. And we're not taking away from what you've been through. However, what I am saying is keep in mind that these things, no matter how hard they hit us, it's only one fraction of our lives. If we can stay focused, if we can remember that what we're going through is ultimately temporary and that everything is working out for our good, we'll remember not to let those emotions become our essence, but rather acknowledge those emotions. Be real with how we're getting through these emotions. think about ways and strategize how to navigate these emotions and make sure we keep the right company around us. But we will not make the mistake of turning ourselves into these monsters that we're really not. It's very interesting to look back and reflect on where I was back in 2016, because I feel like that was a completely different person. However, I'm totally aware that it was just a very rough time, a time that I've never encountered before, but I've gotten so much strength from it. If an extenuating circumstance has you down and out right now, please be gentle with yourself. The number one thing you should do is find ways to pour back into your cup. Take time, find the right people to surround yourself with, and remind yourself that you are not those feelings, but you are just having those feelings. You are still an amazing individual. You're still worthy of good things. You're just going through a bit of a rough patch. On your journey of healing, I wish you nothing but love and light. Thank you for stopping by Affirmation Sesh.
We're together.